Dude, well, at least it's not like some pit bulls and stuff where you like find out that they were like fighting dogs and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus.
Yeah, something happened to her though. Either because she's got like a bunch of scars.
Yeah, I mean, she could have
Like
been.
has a choke chain, like choke collar
Jesus.
scars. And then either she got in a fight with some animal or she was abused because she's got like some other pretty big scars on her head.
Dude, people are fucking weird. Not weird, they're assholes. I'm like, they're weird. That's all they are. But yeah, it's like, cool.
But luckily, doesn't seem to be messed up or anything. Just seems like a normal dog.
I think honestly, like a lot of like animals, like all they need is like some sort of like, what's the word? Like they just need people to give them a shit about them and love them. You know what I mean? And then like,
yeah,
like it's kind of like
on the video.
What video?
On the Discord. I don't know if you're still looking at it.
Oh shit, let me see. Oh, nice.
But yeah.
What does she think of the podcast? She's like, bullshit.
Like 0 stars.
She's like, take me back. You're like, damn it!
You haven't even got to nerd news yet.
This is bullshit. Bullshit sucks. It's like, what?
It's my favorite segment.
Is it?
No.
Well, I guess we'll cut it then. That cracks me up. No. Okay, so we are up and running here. I just want to make sure that this is... Unless you see on your end that it's up. I'm just checking on my phone real quick here.
No, I can check.
I'm like, shh, don't tell. Okay, yeah, it looks like we're up. Cool. I just want to make sure.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Okay, cool.
All right.
So, Merry Christmas, sir. Oh.
And happy holidays.
Yes. And, yeah, happy Hanukkah, which by the time this comes out, Christmas will have passed, but Hanukkah was definitely before that, so. Do you know, when does Hanukkah start? Do you know, or I don't really know.
It's different every year.
Damn, it's a roaming holiday. It's like, yeah, I know it's like, 8 nights or whatever? I know that much, just because of that 8 Crazy Nights with, like, that Adam Sandler movie that, like, I saw in theaters with, like, Kevin Brown, and I was like, ugh. Even though I think if I went back and watched it now, it probably wouldn't be as bad, but, like, they had that, like, old dude that, like, kept having seizures, and I was like, what is this?
I never saw it.
You might not think it's horrible. I mean, the animation in it was awesome. It was actually animated by people that did, like, Anastasia. So, it's not bad animation or anything like that. It was just, like, Adam Sandler, I think, does a couple voices in it, so I think that's maybe why, like, it's kind of like the Eddie Murphy thing where he's playing, like, a bunch of different characters, and you're like, okay. Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe it wasn't that great. Maybe I'll give it a watch again, though, because I haven't actually watched any Christmas movies this year. I guess it's too late. Or is it? It's never too late. Oh! It's never too late to apologize. It's like, wait, what? That's not how it goes. Damn it. I pulled up Google Drive. Oh, with Bill Murray?
No, it's from 1970 with Albert Finney as Scrooge.
Oh, okay.
It was really bad.
Oh,
okay. And he was not good in it, which he's like a legendary actor, but he was hamming it up big time, and they made it a musical, but all the songs weren't good. So,
that's unfortunate.
I'm calling you out, Albert Finney, even though it's beyond the grave.
It's beyond the grave. It's
beyond the grave.
He's like, guys, it's beyond the grave. I'm like, okay. Guys, listen. When you hear the word guys, you're beyond the grave. It's like, Jesus. Okay, so let me check here. Okay, so do you want to just start nerd news? Here we go.
Sure.
Maybe. Hold on. There we go. Okay, cool.
Is it time for nerd news?
It is.
Ding, ding, ding.
I need to get like musical things for a thing, but whatever, you can't hear him, so it's not like you would. Fuck it. Cool. Well, do you want to go first, sir?
Sure, I'll go ahead. I kind of referenced it last time, but just all the new Star Wars shows that were announced.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What did you think about that situation?
I'm kind of conflicted because Star Wars and confliction. What the fuck? I'm kind of conflicted because The Mandalorian's been so good. So if they can like keep that up and it's literally just shows, but if they like are making a bunch of fucking movies, and I think okay, so my thing is like I think that like if they're one shots, like one offs, like The Last Jedi would have been fine if it was like a one off and like they let Rian Johnson just make a singular movie. But, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
I can't believe you just said that. But, yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of, like, flipped my thing on that. Because Rian Johnson's actually, he's, like, every other movie he's made has been good. So the common denominator here is that Kathleen Kennedy had nobody above, like, had nobody in charge of the Star Wars, like, plan. Like, as much as I'm not a huge fan of Marvel, at least they have someone in charge of it. And same thing with Mandalorian. You know what I mean? They have, like... somebody actually saying, okay, like, because they had all these directors come in and direct all these different, and write all these different things, or not write, but, like, direct all these different, like, I mean, they even let, Carl Weathers fucking direct an episode of The Mandalorian. Not that he's, like, you know, a bad director, but, like, he's an actor, and he just, like, directed it. You know what I mean? So it's, like, people, it's not the director's fault. Like, I mean, I think it's, like, Rian Johnson, they were, like, do whatever the fuck you want, and he did, and, I mean, what do you expect? You know what I mean? Like, I guess at the time I was pissed because I was like, he's the one that fucked this up. But then, like, you look back on it and you're like, they set it up well with, like, the first one. Even though, I mean, obviously it's like a redo of, like, A New Hope. But it's like, if they had kept going on, I think, what J.J. Abrams had, it would have at least been 3 movies that made sense. Whereas, like, the same thing with George Lucas. I mean, like, even if you don't like the prequels, you can't say that, like, they weren't a story that had a beginning, middle, and end. The most important thing to a story, like, it was like beginning, end. Cool.
Did you watch all the Mandalorian episodes?
Yes.
What do you think of the ending?
With, like, Luke Skywalker showing up?
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen it. I'm like, fuck!
Yeah.
So I thought it was
like,
cool.
But he died.
I thought it was cool, but, like, somebody, like, instantly, like, the next day did, like, a better version of Luke's face with, like, a deep fake app.
Oh, really?
So that's kind of that was my only thing, is, like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't, like, as bad as, like, when we watched in, like, fucking General Moff Tarkin or whatever his fucking, like, Peter Cushing was on screen. And it's, like, in the reflection he looked fine, but, like, when we watched Rogue One and, like, the whole thing, we were like, ooh, you know, like, he looked like a cartoon character.
Right.
But it was kind of like there were times when it looked pretty good, and then there were times when it looked like, okay, this is like the Mandalorian and all these other actual people, and even, like, Baby Yoda were standing next to, like, a fucking, like, CG guy.
Yeah.
It wasn't...
I don't know if it'll ever fully get there.
Yeah, I think, like... I think they could have done better, but they could have done a lot worse. Like The Rock and the Scorpion King kind of shit. Or, like, when he comes out as the Scorpion King in Mummy 2.
Or Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's come a long way. I think eventually... The issue isn't so much how bad it looks, but, like, with Peter Cushing, me and you were, like... We knew he had been dead for, like, a long time. You know what I mean? So it's not like we were under any illusions that this was an actual person.
It wouldn't have mattered, dude. Even if we never heard of Peter Cushing, it's clear that that's a cartoon.
Right, but I mean, even if it looked perfect and we knew Peter Cushing was dead, I would still would have been like, this isn't... You know, it's kind of like it's hard to suspend your disbelief.
Yep.
I think it's different, like in, what was it, that scene in, like, Rise of the Skywalker or whatever it was, or wait, was that what it's called? Or is that what it was? Rise of Skywalker, or
of the Skywalker,
or something like that, or like
look out, it's the Skywalker.
the last movie that they did, like the 9th one, where like they showed that scene with Leia and Luke fighting, and she wins the duel or whatever when they're training.
Right.
I was like, that actually was like legit, but like, I don't know. I mean, the end of it was legit, but like the thing is also, it's like, well, now they've opened up this whole thing where like now they have to use Luke again, so they're gonna have to either replace him with like, people were like throwing around that like Sebastian Stan should play him, you know what I mean, because he looks pretty similar to like a young Mark Hamill,
Yeah.
or like just
that's
hire people that did the deepfake shit to make it more similar. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like you've kind of got yourself into this like area where now he's part of the story, and they're probably eventually going to do more Luke Skywalker shit in general. But it's like they could have.
They should. That's what I wanted to talk about, because like The Mandalorian was awesome.
Oh yeah.
The best Star Wars like since the original trilogy in my mind, like, no question.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think they should have just wrapped it up with that last episode. Like why should there be another season? Like, the Mandalorian completed his mission.
Yeah.
He went through like a full arc where he learned to like, stop following all the rule, like the dogma of the Mandalorians, like to take his helmet off because he loved, Baby Yoda.
Right.
And that's it. Like, why should there be more? And I think that's going to be the problem. Like, they're just going to keep pushing out content even when it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Like a Cassian Andor series, like, that's one of the lamest, weakest characters in any movie ever. Like, why are they making a series out of that?
Yeah, I mean, until
some of these series just do not sound interesting.
Until Boba Fett came back, he was like the weakest character in the series because he literally was on screen for like 20 minutes, if that, and he like fell to his supposed death. So it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of those things where I think they can possibly do something with it, because obviously, I mean, honestly, it's also one of those things where like Mandalorian, like who the fuck even thought that was going to be any good, and it's been like really good. I do agree with you though. It's like one of those things where I think it's because the Mandalorian was so good that like people are like fine with them making more of it. But I agree with you that like it would have been completely fine if they had just wrapped up. You know what I mean? Like, even if they had done a thing where like the Mandalorian still went on adventures, but like Baby Yoda and Luke Skywalker were like never seen again. You know what I mean? Yes. That would have been completely fine, because like I think the issue with that series is like over time, like Baby Yoda pretty much defined the fucking character of the Mandalorian, which is what became his character, kind of like helped him come out of his shell. But like now it's literally like the Baby Yoda is like more popular than the title character of the show, and it's kind of like, okay, that's kind of an issue. And that's the whole reason why they're gonna make a third season or in a fourth season and whatever, is because like they're like, holy shit, people are buying these Baby Yodas. So it just so happens that the people making it actually care about Star Wars.
Right.
It's the same shit that happened with fucking 7, 8, and 9. It's like the whole reason why they made more of them is because the fucking prequels and like the originals made so much fucking money that they were like, how can we not make, you know what I mean? Like, it just so happened those movies were shit. Where like the originals and the prequels were pretty good. So it's like, I do agree with you. I think that like if they had done like maybe a couple more series, that's fine. But like, yeah, they're literally like, let's make a series off of any character that's ever existed in Star Wars. No matter if they're entertaining or not.
It's exactly what they did when they announced all the movies, and guess what? Like, most of those didn't even end up happening. Like, they got thrown in the...
A lot of that
didn't learn the lesson. Yeah. One more thing I gotta say about the Mandalorian is like the scene where he has to show his face to scan the database or whatever, where they get confronted by that officer. Yeah. That was like one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah, like, that was
any movie or TV show ever. It was one of the most intense, like, whoever that actor was who was the officer, like, that guy should have his own show. It's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Now that he's dead. Or not the character.
Yeah,
he could have a prequel of being, like, a Nazi, pretty much. He was like, those motherfuckers died in hell. I was like, Jesus.
Alright, we went off the rails with nerd news. What do you got?
I don't know. I actually had something, but I think I erased it, so I don't know if I actually have anything.
Should we move on to Recommendation Nation?
Yeah, that works because honestly, I don't really think that there's anything, to say.
Alright.
For, like, nerd news. I literally, like, that one subject spilled over into, like, what we always talk about anyway, so.
Yeah.
But, Recommendation Nation, speaking of Star Wars, I think I've probably, maybe I have recommended this before, maybe I haven't, but if people haven't played Star Wars The Fallen Order, that's, like, definitely something that, like, I would totally recommend. Until Mandalorian came out, it was, like, the only good Star Wars, like, thing that had come out in the last, like, long time. Jesus.
Yikes.
Those fuckers coming for your energy bill.
Yeah, I still gotta play that.
Yeah.
I've been holding off because I had a bunch of games that I have on the shelf that I haven't played, but.
Oh yeah, man. It's one of those things. If you got other stuff that you still have to go through, yeah, I'd say go through what you have first.
I finally finished Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams.
Apparently, there's another one called Wet Dreams Dry Twice.
Oh, is it out?
I don't know. I went on Wikipedia the other day because we were talking about it, or like I was talking about it on I guess with like Nate and everybody, and I was saying how you play every single one of those games, and they were cracking up because they didn't know that Leisure Suit Larry games were still being made.
Well, the last one, it was actually good. Believe it or not.
Have they been pretty shit recently, or?
Huh?
Have they been pretty shit recently or something?
Well, yeah, like that box office bust was...
horrible. It was a bust.
Like, unplayable.
It was indeed itself a bust.
Yeah, looks like the sequel did come out
shit.
in October. So.
Well, guess you'll be on that then.
Again. Guess I'll have to put off Fallen Order for another year.
Yep. It'll take you a year to play fucking Leisure Suit Larry.
That's cool.
Yeah. Do you have anything to recommend, sir?
Yeah, Tenet.
Okay, I heard about that, but I haven't like really looked into it. What's that on?
It's out for. I don't know if it's on any streaming service, but you can put it on Amazon and stuff.
Okay, so it's a movie or a series?
It's a movie.
Okay.
A new Christopher Nolan movie that came out earlier this year.
Nice.
And it like took me back to the days where you didn't know anything about the movie you were about to see because I hadn't watched any previews or I didn't even know who was in it.
Right.
So
yeah.
It's kind of fun to just see a movie where you know nothing about it.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm kind of like. I guess that's one good thing that's kind of come out of, like, well, not really a good thing because of fucking COVID, but it's like, I don't really, I guess you could still look up previews, but I don't know. Let's just pretend that I didn't say something good came out of COVID. Skip over that part.
But it's a pretty great action movie. It's like a sci-fi action movie that's like pretty clever. It's about like people and things that can go forward and backwards in time.
Oh, that's cool.
So you would have like someone fighting with someone else, and they're going in different time lines. So
kind of like
one's moving in like backwards motion. And
so kind of like that Hayden Christensen movie, Jumper.
Oh, Jumper. I never saw that.
I've never seen it either. I just know they could like teleport, and they would like fight while teleporting in the trailer. So I assumed it was like something like that, but through time.
Kinda.
That's kind of cool.
When you reverse the flow of time, like you're experiencing like time going in the opposite direction. So like the world is running in reverse. So
it's totally like a Christopher Nolan like.
Yeah, exactly.
Mind fuck.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to.
Lots of like real stunts and like large scale like they crashed a like 747 and they did it for real. So
damn,
it's really cool.
Yeah, like all the people on board are dead.
Yeah.
I'm like,
many stuntmen were killed. It was awesome.
They're all like little like dwarves. Many stuntmen were killed. I'm like, what?
That's how they make everything look so big. Use mini stuntmen.
I'm like, holy shit. They're like fucking the size of like packages of Lay's potato chips. Like, these are mini stuntmen.
They're phone size.
They're phone sized. Yahoo! Hell yeah.
Cool.
Okay, well that's recommendation style down. Hold on, let me see if I can fix something here. Maybe. Jesus Christ. What the fuck's going on? Give me a second here. There we go. Okay. So, Matt, what is your favorite Christmas movie?
Probably Black Christmas.
Okay. See you guys next time.
Yep, that's the end of the episode.
I've actually compiled here a top 6 Christmas movies.
Oh, man.
Okay, so, number 6. What was that? Was that Gloria? Number 6 is Klaus on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
What the hell is that?
It's kind of like an origin story for like Santa Claus.
Okay.
But it's the guy that plays like Klaus or whatever that like becomes Santa Claus is what's his name? The guy that played the guy from Spider-Man that yells at Spider-Man all the time. Like that actor. His like boss or whatever.
Oh.
Like J. Jonah Jameson, that actor.
Yeah. I'm
So
on his name.
I don't know why I'm blanking on his name because I've watched a lot of shit with him in it, but it's really entertaining. So
nice.
Sounds
good.
Number 5, we got Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, that's right up there.
Yeah. Number 4, Ernest Saves Christmas.
I haven't seen that since theaters.
Yeah.
I was a little child.
Used to watch that movie all the time. Number 3, Home Alone 1 and 2.
Nice.
Number 2 is The Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell, which are both on Netflix.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Then we've got some honorable mentions before number 1. We've got some movies that take place around Christmas time that are like... It's kind of like Die Hard and stuff, like where it is taking place on Christmas, but I would not say it's like... I'd say it could be considered a Christmas movie, but not like... You know, it's not like all these other movies where it's literally that's the focus, you know what I mean? So, like, Batman Returns and Ghostbusters 2.
Nice.
Are some honorable mentions.
Yeah, I came around on Batman Returns. I used to not like it, but that's a pretty cool movie.
Danny DeVito as the Penguin is, like, the most horrifying thing in, like, any movie.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting. But, number 1 is my favorite Christmas Carol of all time. Like, my favorite version is A Muppet Christmas Carol. And
yeah. Good choice.
And it leads back to, like, what you were talking about earlier, how, like, the one you watched had, like, horrible music. This has, like, probably, like, the best, you know what I mean, like, music in a... Right. And it's, like, it puts a spin on it, and it's still, it's faithful as well, for the most part, to, you know what I mean, like, the mood of it. It's not some weird, like, take where it takes place in, like, modern-day America, or, like...
Right.
You know, which there's nothing wrong with, like, a different take and stuff. It's just, like, it puts a spin on it, which is nice.
And I was thinking, like, Michael Caine is great in that, too.
Yes.
Is that, like, the best thing he's ever done, maybe? Because he's really good in that movie.
Yeah, probably besides being Austin Powers' Faja.
Yeah.
He wasn't great in that movie, but that movie...
Yeah, what are you talking about?
That movie wasn't, like, super great, but it was better than number 2. Like, I feel like Austin Powers 1 and 3 are legit, and not because 2 is horrible, but because, like, Heather Graham in that movie is fucking the worst fucking ever. Like, I'm kind of surprised that like she is able to become an actress, because it's like she didn't. Well, she just doesn't give a shit in that movie. Did she? For what?
For Boogie Nights, or she was at least nominated.
Wow, she got naked. Good job.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's probably
Michael Caine's hilarious in that movie.
He is. Yeah, he is. I guess I should say that movie. Well, I don't know. It is good. It's just like one of those. He's not in it enough. I mean, I guess he is, but I feel like they could have done a whole movie just on his character. Like, but Michael Caine. Yeah. Let's see. He was also in Alfie or whatever. That movie was fucking horrifying. Because like he sleeps with like a war buddy's wife, and then like she gets an abortion, and he like runs outside while she's getting like a backdoor abortion and like throws up.
Sounds like a feel-good hit of the summer.
Yeah. And then he was in
Get Carter. Did you ever see that one?
No, that basketball movie?
No.
Or wait, that's Coach Carter.
Get Coach Carter. Kill him.
It's like, Jesus!
He's like a mobster in that movie. He's pretty bad.
Really? Holy shit.
Yeah.
He's Alfred in the Batman series by Christopher Nolan.
Yep. He was in Tenet too, because he's in every Christopher Nolan movie.
Nice.
Muppet Christmas Carol is awesome. I might pick Home Alone above it if I had to, but
yeah, I mean, these are like the ones I could think of that I actually would like love to rewatch and stuff. But like, it's also hard for me to make lists because
is a good one too.
Yeah, that's true. I think that like
Trains and Automobiles, although that's more of a Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here with that. I'm just kidding.
I blew it.
John Hughes, fuck you, bitch. No, I agree. I mean, there's many more that like could have been on this list, but those are just the ones that like. And it's not like I've watched Christmas Chronicles a lot. I just couldn't make this list without putting Kurt Russell on it. So once I remembered he was in those movies, I was like, damn it. Not damn it, but it's Kurt Russell. So
cool.
Here we go. Unless you have a surprise before we start this.
No.
Okay. No, mini-me.
Nah.
Okay. So, this week, we watched Black Christmas, originally titled Silent Night, Evil Night in the United States. It's a 1974 Canadian slasher film produced and directed by Bob Clark and written by A. Roy Moore. It stars Olivia Hussey, Keir Dullea, Margot Kidder, Andrea Martin, Marian Waldman, Lynne Griffin, and John Saxon. And the story follows a group of sorority sisters who receive receiving threatening phone calls and are eventually stalked, and murdered by a deranged killer during the Christmas season. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, what'd you think? Had you ever seen it before?
No, I had never seen this movie before, actually. Nice. I'd heard about it, and I think I had seen like maybe a clip or something like that, and like, you know, maybe a top 10 list or something, but I had never actually seen this movie before.
So what'd you think?
I thought it was pretty good, but we'll get to more of that as we go on.
Oh man. Here we go.
I'm a sour fuck every time these movies. I'm like, no, okay, cool. So,
just so you know, this is probably one of my favorites too. Like,
yeah,
every week I'm like, this is one of my favorites. But I think
it's a pretty good format. You pick out the movies and I shit on them.
Exactly. You like nitpick them to death and ruin them.
No, I literally. No, it's like literally most of the stuff I ever come up with is like stuff for like jokes and stuff. It's not stuff that I think like will ruin the movie or anything. But there was one specific thing that happened that kind of got to me, and once we get to that, I'll speak into
it. Let's get into it, man. Can I start by saying?
Yeah, go ahead.
Olivia Hussey, what's next? Julia Trollop?
Who did she play in this fucking movie?
She's the main character.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's funny. Olivia Hussey.
You're like, boo.
Well, no, it's just like I thought Margot Kidder was going to be the main character in this movie because she legit is like the most famous person in this movie, at least to me. But that doesn't mean that like she has to be, like the main character. I think this might have also been before the Superman movies, possibly too. So it's not like,
yeah, it was.
Like she got huge off of those. So it's not like it's kind of like watching a movie before somebody gets their huge break, and you're like, why weren't they the star? It's like, well, nobody fucking, any of those other people could have been in Superman, and they would have been a fucking huge person. So
yeah.
Well, except for like the guy that dresses up like Santa Claus. Okay, so I guess we'll do what we did last time, where like I'll start, and then like if we'll just keep going through the movie, and then so Black Christmas title 1974 comes up, shot of house, short credits, and this is like a plus for older movies. For me, at least.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a major plus. You don't have to sit through a bunch of bullshit credits. Like, I like that the movie just fucking starts for the most part, and the ending.
Did you find something creepy about like the Silent Night song at the beginning?
I always thought Silent Night was kind of fucking weird, regardless. Not weird, but just kind of like creepy. It's like,
yeah, there's just something like ominous about when you just looking at the house and the
right.
It's a pretty cool start to the movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Like I said, I like this movie for the most part. There's just like I said, something that happens. So like I said, once I get to it, we'll talk about it. You can tell me what you think.
Cool.
So then
the movie happens.
yeah. The door opening and closing seems like stock ADR sound effects because it's louder than shit compared to the rest of the movie.
Very well could be.
Margot Kidder, Lois Lane swore within the first 3 minutes of the movie, saying, "Who left the goddamn door open?"
Yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about Margot Kidder in this movie.
Yeah, her character is like fucking like out of control.
Yeah.
Like she's like a foul mouth. Like she doesn't take shit. Which is like
she's drinking all the time.
It's very interesting though, because like this is like 1974, so this is like super early. This is like the pre-Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Like the independent woman, like fuck you, like I think all the other women wear like skirts and she's like pants.
But she's really good in it, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think it's
really funny.
I think especially at the time, besides all the like, murders that happened, that was probably one of the more shocking things that happens in this movie, where it's like, holy shit, a fucking woman that's like independent and
yeah.
Yeah. So then we got this.
Yeah,
go ahead.
A lot of humor. Like there's a lot of humor in this movie, which I appreciate.
Yeah, that's true. There's actually something that happens I'm going to bring up that cracks me the fuck up. So we got this white guy with an afro and mustache that looks like a cross between Gene Shalit, Hulk Hogan, and then he asks, when are the little bastards arriving, when he's playing Santa, which I assume was under his own power. I was like, what a shit.
Yep. Pretty great.
Also, it's like, only in like the 70s could a dude get away with like looking like that, because he had like that fucking fro and the mustache, and he was like the slovenliest motherfucker. It's like, and he had like a girlfriend. I was like, what?
What?
I don't understand this. Lady answers the phone yelling maybe she needs a hearing aid.
Yeah.
Parties all over, the men out. I was like, huh? Let me see here.
You're like, the men shouldn't be out.
Yeah, the women should be. Guy goes up side of house on lattice. This is all POV. Enters attic window, then comes down from attic into house. Which was like a legit, like POV, like.
Yeah. So that leads
stuff.
into something that I wanted to talk about, because like there's some controversy about that, because it's very similar. This movie is very similar to Halloween, and like those POV shots
right.
are pretty similar to the ones in Halloween, even though Halloween came like 4 years later, I think.
Right.
And there's like John Carpenter has said that he never saw Black Christmas, but Bob Clark has said that John Carpenter told him he did see Black Christmas.
Oh, shit.
So it's like they're telling different stories, but like either way, I don't think that John Carpenter like ripped off this movie. I just think they're kind of similar.
Right, yeah.
But it's funny that Halloween is like supposed to be one of the first slashers, but really Black Christmas kind of was before it. Yeah, the dog is making some noises.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, there were a couple slashers, I think, earlier than Halloween. I think, as far as...
just did it best.
Yeah, I think Halloween was, like, the first one, at least, like, you know, I mean, I could be wrong on this, but it's one of those things where, like, you watch it and it's, like, that character has a menacing presence, whereas, like, in this movie, shit's happening, but, like, nobody knows about it until it's, like, pretty much at the end of the movie. You know what I mean? Like, They don't really know that people are even dead. So, whereas, like, I guess that kind of happens in Halloween, but in that movie you're shown the person. In this movie, spoiler alert, you'd never actually see the person. You know, like, in third person.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, like, first person when they're doing their shit. Or it's like...
Although you see the eyeball.
Yeah, that's, like, the only part, but you can't see anything. It's like... There's no distinguishing marks for, like, the actual killer. So you don't know who it ever is, which is kind of like...
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
That's one of the coolest things about this movie, I think. That's what makes it, like, scary when you think back about it.
Fuck this movie. Just kidding.
But did you notice, like, I can never tell when you see the eyeball. Is it supposed to look like red or, like, demonic? Because there's something look weird about it. Or is it just... the way it looks?
I can't remember, because I remember that part specifically, but yeah, I do know what you mean. There's almost like a fucked up thing with it, where it's like, it could also be like something to do with like how there's very little light going into there, because it's literally he's like in a closet and he's like looking out the closet through like a sliver, like from the door and the door frame, which is
pretty creepy.
And she's like, hey. But anyway, my next note says, guy leaving wearing a Conan the Barbarian fur hide, whilst in the background Margot Kidder calls her mom a gold-plated whore, and she's like mic'd, but the other people in the room aren't, because you can hear her like over the people that are on screen. Which I was like cracking up, because she's just like, you can hear her whole conversation, but, like, the people that are, like, right there saying goodbye to each other, you can, like, barely hear what they're saying.
This movie's garbage.
No, it's not. It's not garbage. I
didn't notice.
I just thought it was funny, because I was like, this sound is very weird. It's like... And it's honestly, I think it's really only that scene. It was just kind of like, what the fuck? Guy moaning sounds like he's a worm or being tortured. He's like, oh, like when he calls and shit.
Yeah, the calls are pretty outrageous.
Yeah. So, like, I was like, why are they listening to this and still haven't hung up yet? He's getting pretty nasty. Then he's, like, out of nowhere in a different accent, like in an English accent. He's like, you fucking, I'm gonna fuck you and stuff. And then he's like, she says, like, something, like, fuck off or whatever. And he's like, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like,
I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, I was like, what?
And there's a couple times where it sounds like there's two voices going on at once.
Right, there's like, well, it's like, it's obvious that, like, whatever is happening on the other end is, like, either they're piping in, like, something that they, like, put all these different sound effects in, or it's, like, one of those dudes from, like, Police Squad, where it's, like, a dude doing a bunch of sound effects, because it's also, like... There's, like, a pig noise at one point, there's, like, a little girl, and then there's, like, all kinds of other shit going on. You know what I mean? Where it's, like, obvious that there's, like, multiple things happening, but, like, later on in the movie, you see that there's, like, this guy's like majorly fucked up because he's like has like a mental breakdown in the attic at one point. There's like, you know, he makes all these weird noises and shit, and it's like, I don't know.
I think that's what's so great about the movie, because like even on the first call, like it's pretty much as filthy as you could get. It's like, this is not, movie's not messing around.
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm still have notes about this the first phone call in this movie. Actually, this is after the phone call, where Margot Kidder, this is a conversation that fucking happened in this movie. You know that town girl was raped 2 nights ago. Response, you can't rape a townie. What the fuck does that mean? I was like, I'm assuming townies are like easy, maybe, but like you can still rape somebody that's fucking known for being like, you can still rape a prostitute. They don't give away their services for free. It's like Margot Kidder is like, what the fuck? Cat was called a little puss. I wrote that down. But that's kind of like how they used to say that shit. They'd call like cats like pussy cats and stuff, or pusses, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch older cartoons, they do that shit too, where they're like, puss, come here, and I'm like, okay.
My grandparents called people's faces puss. Have you ever heard that?
Pieces of what?
Look
oh, yeah, he's a sour puss or whatever. Yeah.
Look at the puss on that. It's like,
You sick bastard. Look at the puss on that. Look at the puss on that. Like, gross. So we're coming up to our first kill here. Do you have anything to say before this?
Well, I just wanted to make sure to talk about the Olivia Hussey sweaters at some point.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, I guess my first note for this is this first kill, clothing plastic wrap put over lady's face. I guess that's
the jump scare was pretty great though, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where at this point it's pretty well like known that kind of shit's gonna happen, but back then probably not.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, when somebody goes towards something and they're like, hello? You know, cat,
right.
Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, there's either going to be a jump scare right away or there's going to be a fake out and then a jump scare. It's like...
Yeah.
Or, you know, something else. Like the old lady in this movie had like hidden booze in a bookshelf where the only book that sticks out is where she hid it, which I thought was kind of weird. It's like there's all these like same looking books and then there's one book that's like super fat and it ends up being the one she put the booze in, and I was like, huh?
Like, she's gonna get caught.
Then she put like my next note was also about this old lady. The next place she goes to is like a bathroom to like brush her teeth, and like she hides booze in like the upper deck of a nasty ass fucking toilet.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the shit?
And brushes her teeth with the booze.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Then wrapped up dead girl cuts to, I guess it's a university during the day, which it was. At the time I was writing these notes as the movie went on, so I didn't really know what the fuck was going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like where the scene was until like a couple minutes later. So some of these notes need like edits.
Yeah.
Old bastard gets hit with a snowball.
Yeah, the sad dad who doesn't know his daughter's already dead.
Yeah, the old bastard. Okay. So this is the part that I was talking about, like the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in a movie.
Lay it on me.
So this next scene occurs at 18 minutes and 53 seconds in this movie. It was purposely committed to film. I started to write what was said down, but I couldn't even continue. I was like laughing so like ridiculous that I just recorded it, and I'm gonna play it here.
Oh man.
Let me pull it up here.
This is the podcast first.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it here. I know I have it. It's just one of those things where I gotta go back and find it. Okay, where's it at? Okay, here we go. So this takes place right after the scene where, like, the old dude, like, asks for directions.
I'll tell you how to get there. Ho, shit.
Santa, please.
Look, she's supposed to be going away with me for the weekend, goddammit.
Well, we decided that we would go skiing for a few days, didn't we?
Yeah, and I've been looking forward to this for 3 weeks. Bitch.
Isn't Santa naughty?
Ho, fuck.
That Gene Shalit looking motherfucker that plays Santa Claus in this movie, like, I watched that and I was like, what the fuck? Because it, like, literally goes from, like, that old dude looking for, like, his daughter to, like, he's like, ho, shit. And I'm like, yeah! And then, like, right after that, the last scene, there's a pit, they, like, pan to, like, a picture of an old lady, and as it goes along, she, like, is flipping off the camera.
Yeah.
And, like, the dad and, like, the lady that, like, I guess, like, she's, like, the old lady, like, that watches over the girls, she's like,
Can you tell this is the same guy that directed Porky's?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And Christmas Story.
Damn, really?
It's kind of ironic.
Yeah. And then there's, like, the old lady is cursing up a storm while looking for that cat, and then the old guy's head pops up. Like, out of nowhere. And I was like, huh? I was like, Jesus. So the next scene is, like, I guess, like, Claire is pregnant, and she doesn't want it. She wants an abortion. And then, like, her boyfriend, I guess Peter, I think his name was.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. He wants the baby. The guy kind of looks like Viggo Mortensen. Now he tells her to get the fuck out, then walks to talk to her about it. That wasn't like a super
what do you
great
think of
note,
that
but...
guy?
I don't know. Like,
He knows.
he was definitely, like, had issues, but, like, you know, he kind of reminded me of, like, definitely, like, somebody that, like, he was under a lot of pressure to succeed, and, like, you know what I mean?
I love the scene where he's, like, angrily playing the piano for, like, his recital or his, like, test.
Yeah.
It's, like, the worst thing you've ever heard.
Yeah, he's, like, fucking up hardcore. Yeah. I'm like...
You can tell he's like...
Well, I was like... Yeah, I've got a note about that. I was like, yeah. So we'll get to that here in a second. I was like, what the fuck? Lois Lane is giving a kid some booze. What the shit?
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Wow. Somebody in the line says, Billy! Wait, what? Somebody in the line says Billy. Oh, I think, like, it was just, like, out of nowhere, like, just a random person just yelled Billy, and I thought it was, like, funny as fuck. They were like, Billy! And I was like, what? Cop points at Margot Kidder. You! Shut up. I was like... Because she kept, like, flapping her mouth, and then he was like, you! Shut up. And I was like, eh.
The cops are awesome in this movie.
Yeah. Margot Kidder looks like she has man hands.
Didn't notice that.
Yeah. Tells cop about fellatio.
Yeah, so that was one of my notes. Because, like, there's a part where they're, you know, they're kind of, the other cops are laughing at the cop who's kind of slow.
Right.
But it's, like, one of the best parts of the movie, because John Saxon is, like, you can tell he's really laughing.
Right.
And you don't see that too often in movies.
Right.
Like, the movie just takes a break for these guys to, like, joke around. But it seems, like, really real.
Right. Instead of, like, a forced bullshit, like, Marvel, Star Wars Last Jedi joke that, like, nobody thinks is funny, but, like, the guy that wrote it.
Exactly.
Yeah. She goes to the ice rink to talk to the killed person's boyfriend, and I'm thinking nobody has fucking found the body yet. It's been a freaking day. Nobody, like, tried looking around. I go by every room in my house pretty regularly, especially if someone is missing. They wouldn't just check the house, and then I was like, edit, I'm an idiot. He took the bodies in the attic, which I don't check ever. I thought it was... Yeah, I had to edit that part because literally... Yeah,
was close.
But, like, it wasn't clear. At the beginning, towards the beginning of that movie, they make it seem like he kills her and just leaves her in the room, and nobody goes in there. And it's like, huh? But I guess he must have killed her and then instantly taken her up to the attic because, like... And then they just never show people looking around the house. It's like, okay. Oh, yeah, here we go. Guy plays piano in a way that I would describe as ball torture. He looks like he's going to take a huge shit. Yeah, that was, like, kind of... Like, it was horrible, but it was also kind of perplexing, because if he's been, like, playing piano all these years, even if he, like, was super fucking, like... I don't know, like, what the fuck would make him, like, fuck it up that bad? You know what I mean? It's kind of like you were saying with, that drum movie with J.K. Simmons, which I just remembered his name. Like, you wouldn't be off tempo that much if you were playing drums. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, if you had made it to, like, the best music school in the country, you wouldn't be making mistakes that, like, a person who is playing for the first time would make.
Right. So...
Yeah, good call.
I thought that was kind of weird. I was like, what? Like, what is he doing? He literally just never practiced until just now. Because they, like, literally are watching him, like, and nobody's smiling. They're all just like, God, this is fucking horrible. And it was horrible. It sounded like shit. It'd be like if I tried to play the piano. I don't know how to play the piano. If you would have played
it well, it still would have been bad. Like, it was just, like, weird art music.
Well, I mean, that's true, but it was like... I don't understand what it was. It wasn't like it was a piece of music. It was like random notes.
Exactly.
But, yeah, boyfriend busts in a police station, calls cops an idiot, then says house like only a Canadian can, which makes sense because that's where this was filmed.
Yep. Good old Canada classic.
Reuse of shot from the beginning credits of Outside the House. What do you have to say, sir?
Sounds like a cheap move, and this movie should be penalized.
Margot Kidder is drunk, talking about 3-day turtle fucking. Lucky if she gets 3 minutes. She watches turtles fucking. Zebras common 30 seconds. Premature ejaculation. She's drunk as fuck.
Classic scene.
Yeah, I was like, huh? Boyfriend of pregnant girlfriend is destroying piano. That was like a legit scene when he was just fucking destroying that piano. I was like, okay, well, this guy's fucking lost it. Which I will give this movie a shit ton of credit because they, you know, spoilers, they set this up for like a couple of red herrings in this movie, which is legit. This is another note of, like, a bygone era. I said they all leave the house without checking her room again, which this is before I knew that, like, he took her body up into the attic, so. They could have, for all I know. They just never show it. But now, like, it would have mattered. That's true. Oh, wait! Everyone gets together to go out and look for the dead lady, which I don't know what her name is because, like, she was literally the first person killed in this movie. So, like, I don't even remember what her fucking character's name was. Sorry.
That was one of my notes about that scene. Another thing I really like about this movie is, did you notice, like, how cold everyone looked when they were outside?
Yeah!
Like you can tell they were all freezing. Like,
oh, yeah, for sure.
And you don't see that all the time in, you know, winter movies, but you could tell, like everyone's faces are all red and they're wincing. Like,
yeah.
It just makes a good atmosphere.
Nobody wanted to be there. It was like, fuck. Figure outside of house. Cat licking corpse. Which I thought was like, Jesus Christ.
Delicious.
Says she can't see a damn thing with a candle right in her face. I think that's when the lights went out or something. I can't remember. That wasn't a very good note. She sees the body. Oh, this is the old lady. Okay, this is where she goes into the attic, I think.
Yeah, she sees the body in the corner.
She's like, I can't see shit, and there's like literally a light right in her face, like from the camera. She sees the body, then for no reason she turns around and looks right where the killer is. Then like a hook that he releases somehow grabs her, and then she gets pulled up in the attic. I was like, that was like the most unrealistic thing in this movie, but like that wasn't.
It could happen.
that didn't like piss me off or anything. I just thought it was kind of like, okay, this is kind of like treading into like later slasher territory, like later movies where it's like, okay, this is bullshit.
There's a hook cam.
It's like she like turns and looks right at him. Like, why would she even turn around? There was no noise. She like literally like her head just like she looks back and he's fucking right there. And then he like throws this old fucking like hook that like I don't even know if it. I mean, it would have had to hit her exactly with the hook and like going really fast to even pierce through her body, because otherwise it would have just hit her and bounced off. It's like, eh.
The killer's a good hookman.
He is. This is what I was talking about earlier. POV of killer going nuts. He's having like a mental breakdown.
Yeah, that's pretty classic.
Yeah, he was like, wow, wow. I was like, cool. Yeah, speaking of when they were outside, they find another person dead that I think was like like the mother that came into the police station earlier looking for her like daughter, and it was like a young girl that was found like killed. The lady's like, Christ! And I was like, Jesus Christ!
Christ!
She like sees her daughter and she's like, yeah! It's like, yeah. Who I thought was the killer came downstairs, but it's Peter, the lady's boyfriend. Is he the killer? I put 6 Belmont Street. 6 Belmont Street. Maybe I'm the killer. Peter calls girlfriend a selfish bitch. Got about 40 minutes left. Somebody else is gonna die. That was one of my notes. Guy in Margot Kidder's room. She has a asthma attack, and that's like the scariest thing in this fucking movie, because she's like laying on the bed and she's like, and I was like, Jesus.
You're like, asthma's the real killer.
Could have been, but it wasn't. Kids outside singing, blocking line of sight to cop car. They're pretty great though. They were like they were really good. As far as like, you know,
It's talented.
caroling, yeah, they were good. Mm-hmm. Killer stabs Margot Kidder with unicorn. First time he pulls it out, there's no blood on it.
I got no defense. I can't defend that.
I'm not like trying to shit on the movie. I just thought, like I said, I go through the movies that we watch and I just write down these like funny things that I'm like, person in the line says something about having a wart removed, and she's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, okay. I guess there was like a part in the movie where like somebody says something about like removing a wart, and like somebody fucking flipped their shit about it, and I was like,
I think that was on one of the calls.
Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah, that's what it was. She's like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, cop talking on the phone, and they bring someone in, and it's somehow louder than him right next to the camera. Then it's a police officer that was shot by a farmer guy that said the officer was trespassing. I'm like, that farmer would be dead today. What the fuck? Because they were just like, oh, what a big deal. And I'm like, dude, this guy literally was shot in the ass with like a real fucking blast of gun pellets that could have killed him.
It's not like Looney Tunes.
Right, and like the cops were just like, you fucking idiot, you should have fucking told him. I'm like, that guy literally shot a fucking police officer. Like, what the fuck? Like, that guy would have been like ground chuck today. Cops were a different breed back then, man. It's like you had to like literally kill someone in front of them for them to like pull their guns on you. But I would have to say, yeah, it was kind of weird because they brought this like dude in, and like the main like police dude was like talking with her on the phone, but you could like hear what the fuck was going on in the next room louder than you could hear like what was happening in the fucking room where he was talking to her on the phone. He's like, I gotta call you back. And I was like, yeah, I would too. There's like fucking, it's like louder than shit. What's going on in there?
Lots of issues with sound in this movie.
It was just funny. I was like, what? Dudes come by with guns. Killer on the phone says pig or bitch pig. Where's the baby? Yeah. I was like, Jesus. Like that part where he says that on the phone.
Yeah, the calls are pretty intense.
The length and way it takes to trace a call. How did anyone ever do that back in the day? Jesus.
Yeah, he's like going through like a labyrinth.
Yeah, I was like, dude, no wonder nobody fucking got caught back in the day. It was like, he fucking, not only did he have to pick up one line, he then had to like run over and patch it through fucking physically, like manually to another thing. I was like, huh? Jennings cop got his throat slit. That was like kind of fucked up. I was like, Jesus. Yeah. Iconic line, the calls are coming from the house.
Right.
Which I think it's been maybe redone a couple times, because I remember specifically the calls are coming from inside the house, but like in the movie specifically he says the calls are coming from the house. So I don't know if they've like redone this in other movies, like, you know, like kind of copied it and said that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the first either, but yeah.
But it's definitely like, when I heard that line, I was just like, okay, that's like super, like, you know. So this is where, like, I kind of fucking got pissed at this movie. So once he tells her that and, like, you know, like, listen to me, just leave and stuff, she fucking won't, she doesn't leave. I was like, stupid idiot won't leave the house. I hope she dies now.
Classic mistake.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is fucking stupid. She picks up a fireplace poker. I should turn this fucking movie off right now. Everything that happened before this movie is null and void. I give this movie a fucking 0 out of 100. I'm continuing to do notes for entertainment in the podcast, but fuck this movie. Avoid this shit. I've since, like, after going through this again, I don't think that way as much, but like that part specifically pissed me off because everything else in this movie like was really good, but then it like legit, I don't know if this is the first like time that a movie committed this like sin, for me at least, but it like became the stupid horror movie cliche where like she could have left, but she fucking decided to like not. And I was like, I don't know. That pissed me off. I understand like she cared about her friends, but it was like, I don't know. I feel like for me, I would have left, and then like the cops would have got there, and then they could have searched the place like safely.
Yeah, the only thing, I think this is probably one of the first movies where that this is the first movie where anyone made bad decisions.
No, I know what you mean. I think that's why I was kind of like, everything else about this was pretty legit, and then that kind of like was like, okay. So it could have been just like the first time this has ever been committed to film where this specific stupid mistake was made by like a, you know what I mean, like in a horror movie, because that's pretty cliche these days to like that kind of bullshit to fucking happen. Like, somehow she can't unlock the front door. Maybe if she had unlocked it before going upstairs to check on her friends. The rest of these notes are kind of like harsh. I was like, stupid movie, too bad she lived.
Lord. I think you are the killer.
The old guy faints. Shocked, then they just leave the lady that was about murdered, nobody like watching her.
Yeah.
Killer's still in the attic. They didn't find the original 2 victims, I guess. Just realized you could see the first lady's corpse from the street in the window, and nobody said shit.
That's the final shot of the movie.
Yeah. Let me see here. I was actually going to add some more to this because, like, I actually meant to say... Let's see here. That whole part where, like... I guess I didn't write anything about this. I think by this point I was super pissed off at this last, like, 10 seconds of the movie.
I'm just picturing you watching this movie like...
I was like, what the fuck? But, like, the part where, like, the boyfriend comes back and, like, he knows exactly where she is, and, like, he knows that she's in the basement and, like, sees her and comes in, I was like, huh? And then he, like, ends up getting fucking killed because, like, she thinks he's the fucking killer, and then they literally are just like, well, everything's wrapped up, and, like, even though the main guy was like, you know, a couple people stay with her, when the old guy faints, they, like, take this old guy out and like nobody stays with the girl, and they just like pretty much leave, and the only thing they do is leave a cop on the outside of the fucking house. Like, I was like, Jesus, dude. Which, I mean, like, for all I know, fucking, he could have came down, killed her, and then fucking that's it. It's like, okay. She's in the house, unprotected, and he's still up in the attic with those 2 other bodies. So it's like... Which makes this movie, like, a good movie. It's just the, like, the killer is all... Like, the way they do the killer in this movie is great. It's just the decisions by, like, the fucking lady that's, like, the main character towards the end. And, like, the cops toward the end are kind of, like, fucking what happened with, like, Star Wars. It, like, defied logic. Like, they did, like, a 180 with some of the characters. Yeah. I was like... That was the only thing I was upset about. The rest of this movie is, like, legit. Like, it's awesome. I would say definitely watch this movie if you've never seen it before. It was just that last little bit fucking got to me, and I was like, really, man? Like...
I can understand that.
I give it some credit, though, because if it's, like, literally the first time this has ever happened, like, been committed to film, I can kind of, like... You know, you can kind of forgive it, but it's just... I think it's been... Because it's been done so many times... You know, by shittier movies, that, like, it's annoying to see it happen in a movie that's so good like this. But,
yeah,
this movie's
I
like...
think the thing I like the most
EOG.
is that you never really understand what the killer is about, or who he is, or why he's doing it.
Right, yeah. It's kind of like...
It's like the Blair Witch.
Right.
That's what makes it scary.
Yeah. I was going to say it's kind of like Halloween, but they give more, like, backstory to Mike Myers' character, but they don't say, at least in the first movie, they don't say why he's doing what he's doing other than, like, he's, like, evil, and he's, like... Yeah, but, like, in the later movies, they, like, fuck all that shit up, and they're like, he's fucking part of the cult of the Thorn or something, and I'm like, dude, whoever made these movies needs to fucking eat shit. They ruin a good thing. Which I'm sure, like, I think they've made... Did they make sequels to this movie? Or no?
I don't know if they ever made a sequel. There's been a couple remakes, which I've never seen. But...
I saw... It's funny, because when I looked for this movie, the first thing I saw was, like, the new one. Like, I saw that come up. Like, and it was literally... It looked like they did a spin where, like, the fucking... The girls are, like, gonna fucking, like, beat the fuck out of the other dudes. Or, like, out of the killer, almost. I was like, you know what I mean? Because I was like, Jesus! Because, like, on the cover, like, they've all got weapons and shit. And I'm like, ugh.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's the 1974 film. There is actually there's a remake. Critically panned 2006 remake was written and directed by Glenn Morgan. The story delved heavily on the mythology of Billy, whose identity and motives were only vaguely hinted in the original film. Yeah, exactly. It's the same shit they did with, like, Halloween. And then Black Christmas 2019.
And Texas Chainsaw Massacres. All the, you know.
Yeah.
Origins of...
Except for, like, the second one. Like, the first two are legit, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, the second one's great because it's like Evil Dead 2, where, like, Evil Dead 1 was, like, a straight horror movie, and then the second one was a remake, but it was, like...
A comedy.
A comedy. And it's the same thing with, like... the fucking second Chainsaw Massacre, where they have, like, the Dennis Hopper has, like, that fucking, like, chainsaw fucking fight. It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, let's see, a direct sequel... Holy shit, what? Hold on. Shortly after the release of the 2006 remake, a direct sequel to the 1974 film was in development, which would have focused solely on Olivia Hussey's character. However, the film was scrapped following the death of Clark, who was killed by a drunk driver on April 4th, 2007. In 2019, they made the remake, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. Like, both him and his son were killed by a drunk driver.
Is Clark, like, the dude that directed it?
Yeah.
Damn, dude, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
I like how... It's funny because I feel like this is something that, like, literally happens, like, has happened over the years. So, in 1974, October 11th, day before I was born. Not really, because I was born in 82, but a day before. Anyway, this movie was written by one person. This movie was directed by one person, it looks like. So, and there was only one producer. In Black Xmas, the 2006 version, the writer and the director were Glenn Morgan. The producers were like fucking 7 people. And then like in the 2019 one, there's like 2 people that wrote it, 1 person that directed it, and like 3 producers. It's like back in the day, you would like have 1 person that would do like one thing and like maybe like 1 director and 1 writer. And nowadays there's like, 5 writers, like maybe 2 directors. It's like people can't fucking make a movie with like a singular vision, like John Carpenter or like, I mean, Christopher Nolan, yeah, but like he's a rare breed, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. A lot of times it's like it takes a committee to fucking make a movie these days, which is like sadder than fuck, I feel like.
No doubt.
Because it's like, I'd rather have like a million like movies that were like just straight up like visionary products than like, I mean, I guess everybody would, but like, than something that was like,
Yeah, I told you I watched that Iron Mask or whatever.
God, yeah, the one that was like legit something I think we both were looking forward to for a long time. Because, I mean, it's Arnold and Jackie Chan, but it's like, I had a feeling it was going to be like so-so at best.
But what I wanted to point out is like the production logos at the beginning.
There's like 100 of them.
It went on for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like the Tim and Eric movie, only for real.
But the problem with that too is like it's not just one you've heard of. It was probably like 10 you'd never heard of.
Yeah.
Like fucking like, like Dick Tree Productions and shit. It's like, okay, dude, fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a bunch of like production companies people like make to literally just like, they're like fronts to like launder money or like do some other bullshit where it's like, okay, like pretty much make a quick buck because it's easier to make like, a bunch of shitty movies that make maybe a profit in US but will like make a shit ton of money in China than it is to make like a good movie.
Yep.
There's a couple people doing it still, like Christopher Nolan and like, but it's like a lot of the good stories are being now told on like streaming services and like TV series, like The Mandalorian or like the 3rd season of Cobra Kai, which is coming out in January 1st.
November 24th.
November 24th for the Nintendo 64. He's a vampire. He's a freak. He's a cobra. He's a guy. But yeah, that's it. That's what I should have said. Recommendation Nation, fucking Cobra Kai. It's on Netflix. You don't have to have a fucking stupid YouTube Red account to watch it. Just have a Netflix account, which most people have these days anyway, depending on if you're a big fan of like their originals, I guess. But yeah, it's legit. It's a good show. And the 3rd season's coming out January 1st. Just a couple days, 5 days, I guess.
Can't wait.
I know, right? Can't wait to bite. I'm like, ugh. So, did you have any other notes for this movie, Matthew?
Nope. I think we hit everything that I have.
Yeah, it's I at the end of the day, this is a good movie. I shit on it at the end, but it's like that makes up like 1 fucking 25th of the movie. It's like a very small portion of the movie.
Yeah, I just like
at the time it pissed me off, but like talking about the movie again, I like, especially after Christmas and how cold it's been recently, it's like it definitely gives like a warm place to you to like be like, okay, this, you get the feeling of it and stuff. Like,
yeah, it feels very Christmassy even though it's a horror movie.
Right, yeah. It's kind of like other movies that are like Christmassy but they're not Christmas movies, like even though like Batman Returns, there's like people were out shopping and it's like, it's very Christmassy, and like Ghostbusters 2 and stuff, like the things I was talking about. Like, I feel like even though people say that like Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and you can say it is, since it takes place in a warm climate, it's not like it's hard to like feel Christmassy about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I mean, which it is it does take place on Christmas, so I can't say it's not. But it's like it doesn't have the same feel as this movie, where it's like, even though this takes place around Christmas, I wouldn't really say this is like straight up like, hey, this is about like putting up the tree and all this shit. It's like, it's definitely a Christmas movie, but mainly it's like a horror movie, but it makes you feel the Christmas spirit and time because of how cold it is and shit.
Cool, man. That was a good dissection. And now I hate this movie too, so I'll just throw it in the garbage along with my copy of Booker Man.
And Howling.
Howling, we'll go from there.
My job is never done until you hate every movie that you like, and you like every movie that I like. I'm a high school motherfucker. Yeah, we'll have to decide the next subject, and we'll let everybody know. Don't know when it's gonna be. I want to try to keep up the every week thing. It's this is still technically during this week, so we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to do it next week. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But we'll tell you guys what the next subject will be. Keep an eye out on the Instagram and Twitter and Facebook on Steak Belmont, like that the page and stuff, and we'll let you know. Any last words, Matt?
All I can say is,
yeah. Jesus! I'm like, yeah.
We'll talk to you later on the next episode.
True. And I will, I'll be back in just a little bit here to continue the stream with a different, playing something else, I guess. I guess I wasn't playing anything now. Except for these fans.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.